show is intended for a mature audience. It contains adult themes, adult content, and sometimes adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Melt. Smoking is a big problem. We can't get people to quit smoking. And warnings don't work. I think you got to change the cigarettes. You know what I mean? If you change the shape of the cigarettes, maybe that would do it. Like if you had a cigarette that had like 2 balls hanging from it. This doesn't look as cool as it used to. I gotta quit. This is ridiculous. Surgeon General warning, cigarette may contain tiny hairy balls. When somebody commits a murder-suicide, that's probably someone who's not thinking through the afterlife. Bam, you're dead. Bam, I'm dead. Oh, hey. This is going to be awkward forever. When there's somebody who's dead and then someone does something that that person would not have liked, they say that that person is spinning in their grave. But I don't understand why they say that. Why is spinning the way that a corpse shows disapproval? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, if we showed disapproval that way when we were alive, then it would make sense. Oh, man, I'm so pissed at you right now. You have no idea how mad I am. Oh, Dimitri's spinning. Let's get out of here. If I lived below a tap dancer, I would just put really powerful magnets on the ceiling. What's that? We're not tapping now, are we? More of a tap stander we got up there. Oh, now we're moving. Oh, over to the window. Look at that. Oh, there we go.
Are you high? What are you talking about?
This is the full melt.
Give me a break. The Full Melt Show. A marijuana discussion about news, culture, politics, and lifestyle. FullMelt.com. Toll free. 844-420-TALK. 844-420-TALK.
Live and now coming to you from the PetPain.com studios. It is the Full Melt Show. Today is what, June 2nd already? Good Lord. Look, I want to have an upcoming show, an upcoming program about the great events happening in the cannabis community across the country. Man, there are so many of them. And, of course, they're all front-loaded for summertime. So look forward to that coming up. If you've got, a place that you know about, some cool event, some cool happening, even if it's a sly one, like out in the woods somewhere, just a smaller, like not necessarily publicized group, that would be cool to put on the air. But I'll tell you what, I'm spitting mad. I'm spitting mad because I'm trying to quit smoking. Not the cannabis. I like to smoke the cannabis. The cannabis doesn't really cause me any health issues that I can tell. Can you tell? Because I can't. The cigarettes are another story. And let me just tell you, as a broadcaster, as a guy that's been in radio for, God, forever, it seems like I grew up with a microphone in my mouth instead of one of those, sucky things. See, I don't have kids, so I don't even, pacifier. What do they call it? They call it a binky sometimes? I don't know. That was my binky, a microphone. And when I started doing the radio thing, I had begun smoking. I didn't do it when I was real young. But then as time went on, I picked up the smoking habit. I think I started the radio actually without the cigarettes. But everybody, almost every single announcer that was at the radio station that I started at was a smoker. So what they did was when the songs were on, they'd run back outside to the smoking area, which is like, not the studio area. Smoke plugs up the equipment. You don't want to get that on anything. Especially your lungs. Let me tell you, my lungs are like a mop. I mean, they've been mopping up crap for as long as I can remember. And it's got to stop. I can feel the effects now. I'm sure the effect was strong that I just couldn't tell before. But I can definitely, tell the effects. I'm approaching 50 years old now. So if I don't get a handle on that, it's going to get a handle on me. And as a broadcaster doing the smoking thing, it's kind of linked together. Like it seems nearly impossible. Yeah, I know it's not. But, internally, mentally, it seems impossible to do a show without having a smoke to fall back on during a break. It's just so ingrained. Now, that is the only thing that I can tell, aside from perhaps dinner, eating, food, that makes me want to have a cigarette when I'm done. When I'm done eating, I want to smoke. When I'm doing the radio show, especially afterwards, but probably during as well, I need to at least sneak in some cigarette somewhere. Live broadcasting is a nerve-wracking business. Anything can happen, and it usually does. Before, during, and after each and every program. It just happens. So you're kind of like you're kind of playing dodgeball there for a while, doing a live radio program, especially where you got a lot of interactive elements where there are, people calling in and stuff happening that you don't always have control over. Because you can do a great show if you got control over everything. But if you use the telephones and you start bringing on guests that you haven't talked to, especially if you're screenerless, let me tell you that, it's nerve-wracking. So the only way to really quell that, for me, has been cigarettes. I don't like smokeless tobacco. I think all of the tobacco things are bad. Probably even vaping on some level is bad just because, it's just a vice. It's just something you don't really need that you're spending money for anyways. And I'm sure there are no long-term studies on vaping nicotine, whatever they got in there. There are various and sundry components in those nicotine vapor products. But the point is I got to stop smoking. Has to happen now. And let me tell you something else. There's another subject that I'd like to talk about tonight too. So, by the way, if you got a story about I stopped smoking using cannabis, because I did that at one point. I did it like when I was 21, 22, somewhere in there. I knew that smoking wasn't a good habit. It was fun, but I really didn't like it. It wasn't something I aspired to do. It's kind of a low life activity in my head. It still is. So I had stopped smoking. I devised a method. Plus, it was just a great excuse to smoke weed. I bought a big bag, and I said, every time I want a cigarette, I'm just going to have a joint instead. And I figured it would slow down the smoking naturally because you can only really smoke so much pot. I mean, you're not going to get any higher. You're just going to get lower on dope, so to speak. That's an old dog. I borrowed that joke from Gallagher. Gallagher told that joke a long time ago. That's going back in a day. So I got to stop smoking. And if you stop smoking using marijuana, please call. And if you've got some other great stop smoking methodology, because I've tried a lot of crazy stuff, I just haven't tried hard enough, obviously. And I need to try something different than I quit. Today I quit. I'm not buying another pack today because I always end up going back down to the store, wrangling out $7 or $8 or whatever the hell it is where you're at, and giving that up to the smoke guy so I can write another letter on my death stone. Just the idea of smoking repulses me, but I've been doing it for the better part of 30 years. It's got to stop. I'm angry that I did this to myself in the first place. So tell me your stop smoking story. And then also, strange cannabis stories. With regards to your grow, I didn't start growing marijuana until I became a medical patient in Michigan. And then I started seriously growing because I also was a caregiver, still am. And boy, have I run across a lot of crazy stuff. Like weird things that you'd have never noticed. Like if you're growing tomatoes, you don't run across this stuff. Or at least it doesn't seem like you do. I guess you're not growing tomatoes because you need to have them. Growing the cannabis, people depend on it. It's got to be what it's supposed to be. So I want to hear your unusual, strange grow happening, a weird thing, or your unusual or strange, wait a minute, what was the other one? Lost track. Unusual or strange grow thing, or problem. If you got a problem that you can't solve, and it's a weird thing, like you never would have thought of it or run across it, or even if it's a common thing. Call up and let us know. Both of those subjects. First, we'll talk about the stop smoking thing. Toll-free number, if you'll call, because if you don't call, then it's just going to be news all hour. All I could do is talk about news. And there's a lot of it. So I got something to fall back on. But, if you're listening to this program live right now, call up your buddy and see if you know somebody with one of these issues, a grow issue or a smoking issue. I stopped smoking using weed, or I have this method that worked for me. Because there's a lot of methods out there, but I just haven't found one that works for me yet. Aside from, I stopped smoking using weed, like when I was 20. Horrible thing. I managed to pull it off. I was amazed and astounded that I did pull it off. But then, at some point, like about 6 months later, I was hanging out at my best friend's house. And he lived out in the country. It was a dirt road out there. And so I decided to go out for a jog, just to go for a nice run, which is something you want to do as a non-smoker. You like to run once in a while, use those lungs. And so I went for the run and, feeling really healthy. I came back. Yeah, I just jogged like 5 miles or whatever. Let's do something else. And then I sat down on the couch at his house, and his dad had a pack of Marlboro Lights sitting there on the table. I think that was what I smoked at the time. And I was like, because there wasn't any weed around. I was like, the first time I smoked a cigarette, man, I got a real good buzz off of that. Because that goes away after like the first couple of times. It comes back if you stop. It's not really a buzz; it's just relief. So I sat down and I said, I'll just have one to get that buzz effect, and then I won't smoke another one. Bad idea. Don't ever fool yourself about that. If you manage to stop smoking, stay stopped. And if you didn't stop smoking yet, don't stop stopping. You got to stop. And that's what I'm trying to do. Stop the smoking. Because it'll make you harebrained. It'll make you crazy. I'll tell you what, there's a 1,000-watt ballast in the other room, I think. I think it's one of the 1,000-watt ballasts that went a little haywire. This ties into the strange smoking thing. The strange grow thing. I'm sorry, mixing up topics now. But it started making this off, and I've smelled it before. I thought it was like ionization, like the way air smells when it's being ionized. I don't know. It's an electrical charged smell, which made me think of the ionization thing. Like maybe there's high voltage that's ionizing the air. It makes a funny smell. It actually makes ozone if you do it right. So, you don't want to breathe ozone anyway. It's a bad thing. But I started smoking, and it filled up the whole building. I mean, you couldn't see it as a smoke. You couldn't see it, but it's making this awful... It was faint at first, but then it got prevalent. It was so bad I had to run a fan out the petpain.com studio doors. A fan, right immediately before it. Big one. We'll be back with more, coming right back on The Full Melt.
You're getting The Full Melt.
It's not easy out there, but it can be easier. And when it comes to medical marijuana in Michigan and chronic pain management, Dr. Bob Townsend, renowned for his patient advocacy and deep understanding of how patients and medical marijuana certifications fit together, makes it his hallmark to educate and provide the best holistic treatment for your condition. His knowledgeable staff makes you feel warm and welcome, and Dr. Bob makes you feel well. With locations across the state in Cadillac and Gaylord, Kalamazoo, Marquette, Mount Pleasant, Muskegon, Saginaw, Traverse City, you can't beat the convenience and feeling you get knowing you have someone on your side that cares. Denali Healthcare is on the web at denalihealthcaremi.com. Get answers to your holistic health questions or schedule an appointment now by calling 989-339-4464. Chronic pain management and holistic health answers is what they do. It's all they do. DenaliHealthcareMI.com. Get your certification and peace of mind now by making an appointment with Dr. Bob Townsend at 989-339-4464.
Got something to hide? Cannalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Cannalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Cannalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at Cannalock.com. Visit Cannalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
They're parasites. They've got no contribution to this society. They're preying on our community and our kids. And it's going to end badly.
We've got exactly $100,000 in cash in the back of this car. I bet there's guys right there in that prison for doing just what we're about to do.
I want the Breckenridge Cannabis Club to be a household name.
This is us pioneering a new industry.
He's going after every resort town in Colorado. His plan is brilliant.
this is a big boy operation now.
We are not the Amsterdam of the Rockies. We're Breckenridge.
Absolutely unbelievable to us that this has happened so quickly.
That's when the town erupted.
All hell can break loose.
I think we have an image to protect.
The powerful elite has definitely put the pressure on.
Everyone is playing everyone.
They're going to have a target painted on their back.
That is a real threat.
There's $2 billion to be had next year. I plan to take more than my fair share.
High Profits, Sunday night at 10 Eastern on CNN. Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience, bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
With this warmer weather, I get more active. Headaches and pains keep me from doing things I enjoy, like golfing and working outside my yard. Toledo Hemp Center's new location, 1415 Sylvania Avenue, has shown me there is an alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. I use CBD, cannabidiol, infused hemp lotions, oral sprays, and topical oils. Thank you, Toledo Hemp Center, for helping me restore and maintain my health with no side effects and no high. Find out more at ToledoHempCenter.com.
This summer, discover the one place where your family will create unforgettable memories. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Rated PG-13.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
Radio show.
Don't wanna live as an untold story. Rather go out in a blaze of glory. I can't hear you.
So, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but we sold the naming rights to the studio, at least for the time being, PetPain.com Studios. We've also managed to do the same for the phone lines. Look, none of what we do here is cheap. A lot of this stuff can be very expensive, what we do, just the way we do it. And in fact, I'll tell you, sometimes I spend money to do this show, and I work at it a long time. So we sold the naming rights to the phone lines as well. We're talking today about, right now, about the stop smoking thing. Do you have a weird stop smoking story? And so we've got some callers. We'll go now to the brand new Cannalock No Smell Bags phone lines. Hello, you're on the air.
Well, hello. Hey, yeah, I quit smoking, like 12 years ago.
12?
And 12 years, yeah.
Was it difficult to maintain not smoking once you did stop? Was it hard to do?
It was pretty hard. It took, I still craved a cigarette even like a year later.
But after about a year, it kind of that went away?
No, you still get the cravings. Even now, I still get a craving sometimes.
Oh, see, that's just something I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear that I'm married to that thing forever.
But there's really a good thing to it, though, because it doesn't last very long.
It doesn't. What the urge? You mean the desire?
Yeah. The urge is there, but I mean, if you walk by somebody and smell it, just kind of makes you sick at your stomach, and you just like, why did I even think that?
You're right.
So I mean,
because the activity itself really, turns you off. It's really disgusting at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really gross. I mean, I can't stand the smell of a cigarette. They're pretty thick.
Well, I mean, obviously it stunk before, but before you stopped smoking, when you did stop smoking, you didn't have an issue with it. But I'm sure before you started smoking, that was still disgusting, wasn't it? The smell of smoke.
Yeah,
all that.
remember when we were like kids and we would like think, I'm never gonna smoke. That's gross. And you could smell it, and the adults would be smoking it, and it just stank. I mean, that's the way it was with me. I don't know if that's the way it was with you.
I'll tell you how it was with me. I'm sorry, I didn't introduce you. This is Kelly from Seattle. Am I correct?
Yep.
Okay. So, Kelly, when I was a kid, there were 2 experiences, and I'm talking, pretty young, under 15. there were two experiences that are very prevalent in my head. And they're opposite experiences, so it's really strange. Because this whole addiction thing, because this is nicotine addiction for me. This isn't about a bad habit. I need something to do with my hands. It's an oral fixation. It's none of that. Except when I mentioned this before, except when I'm done eating, and except when I'm doing this damn radio show. When I do it, or any radio show, I got to smoke. So there's the two examples. My grandparents lived in a little tiny building. It actually started out as a animal hut, and then somebody lived in it. Somebody started living in there, and then my grandparents bought that piece of property, and so it was this little tiny building. And they lived in it all their lives. They died in that building. Well, they didn't die in the building, but they died living there. And so it's just this 30-foot by 30-foot one-story building, and it's block, and it's not well ventilated. It's hard to ventilate a block building. You can, but it's just a pain in the ass. And besides that, their windows were sealed shut. They had painted them shut. So they would have a poker game over there every weekend. Well, maybe once a month. And it was a big get-together, a big family, get-together, hanging out, gambling with the family, just, change poker. And, man, they all smoked, every single one of them. And as kids, that place would just be filled. I mean, just burping with smoke. And I remember how choked out I would get at it. I was just so bad I'd have to go outside and just, wow, God, I got to get that out of me. And then I just wouldn't want to go back in if I could avoid it. I'd go in and say something and then run back out again. And then there's another time, and I remember doing this frequently. There was an uncle that I used to babysit us. I had an uncle that used to babysit us when I was a kid, and just for a while. And when we go over there, my uncle had the old clink, the old Bic. I'm sorry, what is it? Ziploc. What is it? Not Ziploc. What is it? What's the lighter? Clink, and he just, you know what I'm talking about? The lighter, the metal lighter with the top that opens up. What's that called? Did I lose you, Kelly?
No, I'm here. The metal, those Zippos, right?
Zippo lighter. That's what it is. I was trying to call it Ziploc. Yeah. So, Ziploc, you'd never get the thing open. So, So he would click that thing open, and I remember the first puff that he would take off of that thing. Smelled like the most awesome thing in the world to me, but it was only because it had that mix of the lighter fluid and the whole, that first one. I mean, where's that at? Oh, that's so nice. Just because, I don't know what was about it, but there was something about that smell. But just the first puff. Other than that, I always vowed, I was against smoking. I was highly against it. And until I got into my rebellious years. Watching people smoke is disappointing. It's like, oh, what are you doing?
I just thought it was cool, I mean, I started smoking in 1970. And I was like 9 years old, and I was like one of those kids that would light up in the middle of downtown and walk around with a cigarette. People would be like, oh, my God. And, I was like one of those little
See, I just did it now. You didn't notice because I turned the microphone down and I did this. And I lit up a cigarette. It's awful. It's just, see, now I got a cough. See, that's a bad sign, isn't it, Kelly?
Yeah. Well, I smoked for over 30 years.
How'd you quit?
I had no choice. They told me I needed a liver transplant. And they told me, you quit or we won't give you a liver transplant.
Yeah, they're really hardcore on if you got to have a transplant, if you're a transplant patient of any kind, you can't be addicted to any substance because they view it as a risk to the surgery, and this organ could go to somebody who it might better survive in.
Well, if you're addicted to things, they'll still give you a transplant. It's just mainly you can't be actually using anything. I mean, they give you drug tests.
Well, what's the deal with that then? I mean, I thought this was all about, this needs to go to somebody. It's really important. There's a waiting list. I mean, there's a lot of people that want this that aren't going to abuse it.
Right.
And being addicted to something is probably going to be along the lines of abusing it.
It could.
So tell me how I'm wrong about that. I don't get it.
No, you're not wrong at all. But so I mean, they do blood tests on you They test you for drugs. They test you for nicotine.
Well, I thought you said it was. I thought you said that that a minute ago that you could be.
If you're addicted to things, yeah, they'll make you go to like rehab. And when I got my liver transplant, they told me that you had to be not using any substances for over a year. And now, as far as it's my understanding, I think it's 6 months.
So they want it out of your system. They want evidence that you're done.
That's right, they do. And they're hardcore about it. And, I mean, some guy, it was even in the newspaper here in Seattle a few years ago, and he protested because, you know, he was using medical marijuana, and they still told him he had to quit, and he didn't quit, so he died.
See, that's just horrible. See, I view those subjects as separate and distinct. They're severable. Right. One is an addiction. A lot of people say that marijuana is addictive. I say they're full of crap. Look, if I don't have any weed, I'm a little bit upset about it. I'm like, oh man, I got no weed. It's kind of like kind of like, I don't know. Oh man, I got no ice cream, or you know, the television's out. You know what I mean? It's not something. It's not something that's gonna, you know, kill you. It's not something that's gonna irritate you. Yeah, eventually you'll get it taken care of, but it's not gonna do what nicotine does to you if you are without it.
Oh, that's true, man. I just, you know, the way I really quit is I just had to make up my mind that I just wasn't going to do it, and it was really hard for me because everybody that I associated with smoked.
Right. And, well, it was commonplace. I mean, hell, Johnny Carson used to smoke during the Tonight Show. See that nowadays.
Right. And you're in Michigan, right?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, it's not state law there, but see, you wouldn't be able to smoke it in the studio here because it's state law. You can't smoke in any building.
Well, what about your own building? It's your building. It's not like a public building.
Some places, they you know, there's no smoking in buildings. You can't even live in some places you live here. You can't even smoke.
Oh, they won't let you smoke in your own house?
No.
Oh, come on. Now, see, that's kicking it too far. Look, if you want to smoke, if you want to smoke your brains out and kill yourself that way, go for it. By all means, it's your life. I'll be damned if somebody should be telling me that, though. You know, maybe they should tell me, but they can't force me to do that. That's horrible. This is America.
That's right. I agree. I agree with that 100%. But, yeah, some landlords here do that.
Yeah, I could see a landlord putting it in the lease because he's got to reuse that property when you're done.
Right.
So that makes sense to me because he doesn't want to preclude a non-smoker from, or have to, you know, because you can't just paint and make it all go away. Plus, the nicotine will bleed through. I remember, this is another grandparent story. They smoked so much in there that the nicotine, because they were my grandparents, God love them, sweetest people in the world, but they were old school hillbillies. They moved here from Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky, huh?
Yeah, and you know, my grandfather's brother, which was my great uncle, he'd come over. I don't know, once every 5 years or 10 years, you'd see him show up, and he'd have him a little jar of moonshine with him. You know.
Oh, yeah.
He tell me, now, don't you ever say, God damn it. Don't you ever say that. You don't say, God damn it. That's awful. You can't say that. You got to say, dadgummit. Say, dadgummit. Don't say, God damn it. I said, well, you just did. I got the moonshine, too. You ain't got that either, so shut up.
That's pretty funny.
But
you just have to keep at it. How many cigarettes do you smoke a day?
Well, wait a minute. I was telling you the story about the walls. So the walls would get all plugged up with tar and nicotine.
Brown.
Yeah, just awful brown, like terrible brown. It started out white, then it turned tan, then it was brown, then it was almost blackish. Not like the comedy series. Yeah. But so you go to paint that, and it just smears the nicotine around. You know, it just... And if it doesn't smear the nicotine around, oh, look, we painted it, looks great. And then about 15 minutes later, it all bleeds through the paint. So it's just awful. So we have to use this product called Kills. If you get mildew or if you get anything that's stinky or that bleeds through the paint, you use this Kills product and it seals it in. It doesn't bleed through. But it stinks like god-awful, and it stays there forever. So they never painted. After the first time they went through that, they just, screw it. And they just put new drywall up. So when we remodeled that house, there were 8 layers of drywall in the ceiling. Literally 8 layers of 1/8-inch drywall.
Wow.
Yeah, because they just keep putting up new drywall. Well, we smoked up the house again. Time to put some drywall up. But so how did you quit smoking, Kelly? You just said, I'm done. I quit. I'm over it.
Pretty much. I just said, I just
cold turkey, just like that.
Mind. Just like that. I mean, I had to just. First, I got that. My excuse was, I've only had 3 cigarettes. That's all I smoked was like maybe 3 cigarettes a day. I figured, I could,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Just 3 cigarettes. So then, another day I'd go, 2 cigarettes. But that was really tough. And
one for each meal, right? One for each meal, right?
I used to write bad checks for cigarettes, and cigarettes are like $10 a pack here.
Yeah, they're like 7 or 8 here.
It's crazy.
Well, I think it's a good thing that the cigarettes are really expensive because it'll either make you stupid and broke or you'll stop smoking.
Yeah, for real.
And right now, I'm just stupid and broke. I hate it.
You just got to make up your mind. Cut down. It takes a while. You can't just quit off the bat. You got to, how many cigarettes you smoke a day, then cut that in half. And then, go for, a couple of weeks and then cut that in half.
You know what happens? I've done that. I'm pretty good at I smoke 2 packs a day. So
okay.
I'm pretty successful with getting it to excuse me, I was looking at the time there. I'm pretty successful at getting it to I think I blew by a commercial break.
Okay. Wow.
I had the automation turned down and I lost a commercial break. Wait, no, I didn't. It's just about to roll up. I take that back. I hear here comes the music now. I see where it's at on the timeline. Listen, Kelly, I'm gonna if you hang on through the break with us, I'm gonna invite the rest of the audience in. I've done it once before, but I'm gonna do it again. 844-420-TALK if you're listening live right now. Call us and tell us about your stop smoking campaign, your stop smoking method. I'll get back to you in a second, Kelly, and finish up your story here. But I'll tell you, you got to want to stop smoking like you want to swim across the channel. Because if you don't swim across the channel, you get halfway through, you're going to drown if you aren't committed to getting to the other side. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, you just got to quit.
All right, here we go. Hang on. Commercial break coming up. We'll talk about that more next.
Getting the full melt.
It started with Weed 1.
Some have called it a watershed moment.
Then came Weed 2.
It's absurd that we would have to do this to get medicine.
Now Dr. Sanjay Gupta is at it again, and he's reaching higher than ever with Weed 3.
I never thought I would be smoking weed in the hospital.
The movement behind it.
We demand this plant go through the process of the FDA.
The radical research.
I have to say, I'm kind of stunned.
Weed 3, the marijuana revolution.
Each week, Pot Pitch takes a look at different medical or legal pot business as they attempt to seek investment capital and partners in order to take their business to the next level. What do investors like?
And which entrepreneurs are shown the door?
Real venture capitalists, smart entrepreneurs, and exciting business models in a brand new industry. Cannabis. Pot Pitch. Find out what this new marijuana industry will look like and who its players will be. Real deals, real people, real decisions. Pot Pitch at potpitch.com and featured on the Full Melt Radio Show.
Got something to hide? Cannalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Cannalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Cannalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at Cannalock.com. Visit Cannalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
With this warmer weather, I get more active. Headaches and pains keep me from doing things I enjoy, like golfing and working outside my yard. Toledo Hemp Center's new location, 1415 Sylvania Avenue, has shown me there is an alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. I use CBD, cannabidiol, infused hemp lotions, oral sprays, and topical oils. Thank you, Toledo Hemp Center, for helping me restore and maintain my health with no side effects and no high. Find out more at ToledoHempCenter.com.
In an emergency, I'll just dial 918.
But the wonderful thing is you kids get along. And we were able to have a third beautiful child.
Wait, but how did you have an extra room for Maggie?
Well, that's where I used to grow my weed.
So the Full Melt Show comes to you every weekday from 7 until 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find us at thefullmelt.com, on Spreaker, on iTunes. Go there and download us. Subscribe to us. Like us on Facebook. Share us. Follow us on Twitter. I feel like Bill Maher. Bill Maher always used to screw up the HBO.com thing. He'd be going to the commercial or getting ready at the end of the show, and he'd be like, they'd write him some crap to talk about internet stuff, and, Bill's a little bit older than me. He's like, .com what? Aftertime what? Overtime what? Oh, he would screw it up all the time. And then he finally got it figured out. We're going back to the Cannalock no smell bags phone lines, and we're talking to Seattle today. Actually, we're not talking to Seattle. We're talking to Kelly, who's in Seattle. Am I correct? I hope I get that right. Because if you're Seattle and Kelly, I don't know. That's weird. So, commit to it is what you're saying. You just cold turkeyed it. You didn't use any aid whatsoever.
No, actually, they gave me like these drugs. It's called Wellbutrin, and it didn't really work with me. It kind of like made me feel jittery and stuff, and I couldn't stand that feeling.
A lot of side effects with those stop smoking pills. Because there's different kinds, but I think they're all in the kind of the same category of medications, aren't they?
Yeah,
it's like an antidepressant.
Yeah. Right.
It seems like the stop smoking thing came after they issued the antidepressant and then found a creative off-label use for it until they got it approved.
Yeah. I don't know. It didn't. They say it works, but it didn't work for me. That was just it was awful.
I think I tried it once, and I don't think I stuck with it because I think the pills tasted gross. I think there was something that I could, smoking was bad, but the pill was grosser. It was just, ugh.
Yeah, the pill it made me like feel real jittery, like I drank 12 cups of coffee or something. I couldn't stand that feeling.
See, I'm very substance. Some people are very substance sensitive. I'm the opposite of that. What would that be? If you're not substance sensitive, you're substance, callous?
Like more hardcore. But I'm hardcore in some drugs, but other drugs I'm really not.
Well, say for caffeine, for instance. I get none of the up benefits, but all of the down detriments. So, really? I could drink, I swear to God, I'm not even lying about this. And some people would just go, oh, that guy is weird. I could drink a couple pots of coffee, a couple of 2 liters of Mountain Dew, and go right to sleep. No problem. Not even think about it.
That sounds like my son. My son can do that.
But at 3 o'clock in the morning, if I can't wake up and sip on something that's got some caffeine in it, you'll find me going to the store because I will not be able to go back to sleep because of the giant, head-splitting, axe in the forehead.
Oh, yeah.
Which is that's a caffeine withdrawal symptom.
It's a caffeine headache, yep.
I
had that today, in fact.
Yeah, see? But it wouldn't be so bad if you get the upside. Like if I get to zoom around on some caffeine, well, I might feel like I would want to have coffee.
I just kind of get a nice buzz with it.
Here's another weird thing. Caffeine. So coffee. It puts me to sleep.
Wow.
I swear to God, if you give me a cup of coffee, I won't get it half gone enough. I'll see you later. Talk to you later.
That's kind of awesome in a way. Just make a pot of coffee and go to bed.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I do not have a coffee pot. You won't find me with one of those little things that you put the little cup in and it makes an instant cup of coffee. You won't find me doing that.
Right.
I like the foo coffees, but I'm not. I'm too cheap to spend $6-7 for a latte.
Oh yeah, Starbucks or something.
Yeah, but the caffeine, it's one of those drugs that it's like, well, I get no up, but all the down. Why am I even doing this? I should lean away from that too, but I got to beat the big one first because the caffeine probably isn't going to kill me. The cigarettes are definitely going to kill me.
You got to do one thing at a time.
Right.
That's another thing. Don't try to do too much. You got to do one thing at a time. First, what you got to do is you got to cut yourself down. You said you did that and it was unsuccessful.
I was successful at cutting it down, but I didn't get to finish that because we hit the commercial break. I would end up I would forget that I was quitting. You know what I mean? So my body, my routine would just take over and I wouldn't be paying attention and all of a sudden I'm off program,
Right.
So it was an unintentional quit. It was an unintentional slack. But every time I've done that, cut back, in half, because that's what I would do. I'd cut it in half. Because I think that's a good plan. Cut it in half, and then cut it in half, and then cut it in half. Pretty soon, you're not smoking anything.
Right.
Maybe.
And then the main thing is to not have one cigarette. When you get down to like 2 cigarettes a day, and then you get down to 1 cigarette a day, and when you get down to like 3 cigarettes a day, I'd say that's when you just stop and you don't have no friggin' more. You just got. It's kind of hard, but you just got to suffer through it for the first 3 days, and then after that, it's not that bad.
Admittedly, I've gotten past the 3-day mark on multiple occasions, and this is another stop smoking thing that bugs the hell out of me. If you got to stop smoking, the saying is don't quit quitting. And I keep trying to quit, and then when I'm unsuccessful at it, I go through that nicotine withdrawal again. I hate that roller coaster. I really hate it.
The psychological part of it. That's psychological addiction.
It's really
the physical addiction is kind of gone, after 3 or 4 days.
No, it's not for me. It's not. I'm still craving nicotine like a fiend. I still, even today, I haven't smoked in like 13 years, and even now I still get cravings sometimes. My dad smoked for a long time too, and his parents both had emphysema. Of course, they smoked a couple packs of filterless Chesterfields all their lives. But it doesn't make any difference. I mean, smoking is smoking. It doesn't matter if you're smoking lights, if you're smoking the filterless ones. It's all going to kill you.
Yeah, my grandfather smoked, 2 packs of Camel Straights a day, and he lived to be up in his 80s.
So it's emphysema. They had emphysema. They call it COPD now. They got a fancier name. It's COPD now.
Oh, wow. Is that what that is? Is that what COPD is?
It's, what is it? I forgot what the COPD stands for. Pulmonary disorder, or the last two. I don't remember the first 2 letters of the acronym.
But I always wondered what the heck that was.
It's a pulmonary disorder caused by smoking, or caused by other contaminants that have hit your lungs. Sometimes people have COPD from other issues. I had a family member once that had an awful experience. It nearly killed her, where she had the flu and she vomited, and something happened. She coughed or something while she was vomiting, and she inhaled her own vomit.
Oh, no.
And it burnt her lungs. It scarred her. And she was in the hospital for ages about this. And they didn't even know she was going to make it at first. Terrible, terrible episode that happened. But this thing, you get the piece, I'm sure she's got some damage to her lungs that could be considered and maybe diagnosed by people, if it's persistent, by some doctors, as COPD, because it's a lessening of lung function caused by some impact.
I see.
And
I see.
So,
wow.
They used to call it just emphysema. If you're in a coal mine, they call it black lung. It's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's you can't breathe anymore because in one case it's filled with tar and nicotine, and the other it's filled with coal.
And it's really terrible too but what's really good though is after you get down to like nothing and you just smoke weed instead.
Yeah.
That helps you. There's something in weed, and I don't know if you know what that thing is. I know you study on this stuff, but there's a certain type of
there's a substance present in marijuana that helps in the quit smoking campaign.
Well, actually, it cleans your lungs. They say, marijuana has more tar in it than cigarettes.
That's the prohibitionist crowd.
It's not the same type of tar. And the tar.
Well, plus, you don't smoke as many joints as much cannabis as you would nicotine. Nicotine's like every 10 minutes or something.
I know, right?
But with if you're smoking a joint, it might be a once a day affair. It might be a once a weekend affair. It might be a 3 times a day affair. But it's not every 10 minutes.
Exactly. And what it's done for me is it cleaned my lungs out, and my lungs were really plugged up because, like I say, I smoked cigarettes for over 30 years. And another thing that really deterred me, I don't know if it's happened to you, but I'd wake up in the morning and start coughing and cough up great big blobs of black shit that would just drop. I mean, it would sink to the bottom of the toilet.
See, that's just, that's, when a floater becomes a sinker, you know that you got trouble. So, the whole thing with, impairing the lungs and all this and cleaning it out with the weed, I was really successful at that thing I didn't know that it would work. I just had made up my mind that I was just going to substitute one for the other, and It went away. I mean, I don't even know that I craved at that time cigarettes. I don't recall having a desire to smoke again after that, except when I got back 6 months later after that jog. Bam! Oh, there's some cigarettes. Oh, I could get a good buzz off of that. It's just I was a young kid. I was an adult, but a young adult.
Right.
Stupid young adult. Young, dumb, and what do they say? Don't say it. So, that's what it was. I mean, a stupid move. I wish I had, the hindsight to not do that. To not pick it back up again. Because if it wasn't for that just one episode, if I could erase that one day, I would be less impacted today by a lot. A lot.
Oh, yeah.
So I encourage anybody to stop smoking. I'll tell you real quick. My dad, when he's always been a smoker, and I was like, Dad, you got to quit smoking. I'll make you a deal. I came to him. He was shaving in the bathroom one day, and Dad, I'll make you a deal. You quit smoking, and I'll give up X, Y, and Z, or I will do this and this and this. I really sweetened the pot for him. Like, how could he say no to this? Because I love my dad. I didn't want him to die from smoking, and I hated it. So I used to pick on him and steal his cigarettes and hide them. Oh, he hated me for that. But on a larger note, he laughed at me. He laughed. And he said, you don't understand, son. It doesn't work that way. It's not so easy. Listen, Kelly, you can either stick through the break and we'll talk about Strange Grow next, or I'll talk to you, another day.
All right.
Hang on for a second. We'll be right back. More to come on your Strange Weird Grow Ops next.
You're getting the full melt.
Got something to hide? Cannalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Cannalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Cannalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at Cannalock.com. Visit Cannalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
Each week, Pot Pitch takes a look at different medical or legal pot business as they attempt to seek investment capital and partners in order to take their business to the next level. What do investors like?
And which entrepreneurs are shown the door?
Real venture capitalists, smart entrepreneurs, and exciting business models in a brand new industry. Cannabis. Pot Pitch. Find out what this new marijuana industry will look like and who its players will be. Real deals, real people, real decisions. Pot Pitch at potpitch.com. And featured on the Full Melt Radio Show.
Imagine a world where patients can use marijuana like any other medicine. The Marijuana Patients Organization challenges the status quo by helping our neighbors to enjoy a better quality of life. Visit the MPO at marijuanapatients.org and enjoy informative articles, engaging debates, and information about treatments, doctors, and dispensaries in your area. Over 50,000 people have registered at marijuanapatients.org since 2010. Join us at the Marijuana Patients Organization today, marijuanapatients.org.
It's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience, bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
They're parasites. They've got no contribution to the society. They're preying on our community and our kids. And it's going to end badly.
We've got exactly $100,000 in cash in the back of this car. I bet there's guys right there in that prison for doing just what we're about to do.
I want the Breckenridge Cannabis Club to be a household name.
This is us pioneering a new industry.
He's going after every resort town in Colorado. His plan is brilliant.
This is a big boy operation now.
We are not the Amsterdam of the Rockies. We're Breckenridge.
Absolutely unbelievable to us that this has happened so quickly.
That's when the town erupted.
All hell can break loose.
I think we have an image to protect.
The powerful elite has definitely put the pressure on.
Everyone is playing everyone.
They're going to have a target painted on their back.
That is a real threat.
There's $2 billion to be had next year. I plan to take more than my fair share.
High Profits, Sunday night at 10 Eastern on CNN.
This summer, discover the one place where your family will create unforgettable memories. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Rated PG-13.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
Radio show.
All right, so I have to do this. Oh, I didn't get the thing out. I got to get the thing out. Hang on. So I was talking earlier about, hey, wanted to cover this subject. We managed to talk most of the hour about smoking. If you can quit smoking using cannabis, by all means. I would suggest any way that you can quit smoking cigarettes is a good means. So listen, we wanted to talk about strange grow things. And I also told you that we were going to be talking on a future program. I still am lining up guests for it, but wanted to talk about specific events that are happening throughout the summer. And in that spirit, I'll give you this one event. This is happening in Michigan, but these are the kind of events I'm looking for. Because everybody knows about the Cannabis Cups, and we'll bring them on. If I can get Dan's guy to come on, and I'm sure he might. He's awfully busy. Then we'll get him on, and we'll have him talk about the Cannabis Cups. But there's other events. And by the way, Jamaica, speaking of Cannabis Cup, Jamaica is happening. They're moving the World Cannabis Cup from the Netherlands to Jamaica this year. I don't know if they're going to, bobble around, but it seems like maybe Jamaica is a little more friendly to the cannabis now. A lot of conservative guys have been trying for a long time to get the, cannabis crackdown going in the Netherlands. It never seems to take off. But in the effort of talking about events, Puff Danny's Glass Boutique presents Puffapalooza. And this is a public service announcement, so I'm not charging anybody for this. $20, live music, a lot of bands, you get typical vendor booths, etc. But it seems like it's gates open at 11 a.m., so it looks like it's an all-day event on Sunday. I'm trying to find the date here. Saturday, August 8th. It's Saturday, August 8th. And then what does it say about Sunday? No, it's Saturday, August 8th. Limited VIP tickets available. Campsites, vendors, full bar, disc golf, live glass blowing, because that's what Puff Danny does. Lots of prizes and stuff like that. So this is happening. Where's this going on? In Puff Danny's is in Wyandotte, but the event's happening in at Pine Hollow Golf Club, 5400 Trailer Park Drive, Jackson, Michigan. Again, gates at 11. So that's Saturday, August 8th, if you want to get out there. I know that this is a limited venue, and this will sell out. I know because I tried to sell Puff Danny some advertising for the event, and he said, no, it's already going to sell out. I don't need to advertise. It's a limited space. And I don't want to lose you here, Jason. I'm sorry, Kelly. I called you Jason. Listen, Kelly, back over to the Cannalog phone lines. I wanted to ask you about, did you have a strange grow tip a grow experience that you wanted to share with us?
Grow experience?
Yeah, strange thing that happened with your grow, like something really weird out of the ordinary, unexpected, didn't know it could happen, that kind of thing. Or,
I've never grown anything. Every single plant that I've ever had dies. I don't know why.
Because you're a non-smoker, damn it.
But I used to smoke cigarettes all the time.
Oh, so that's not true either.
Yeah. But
you got a black thumb, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I do. I don't know why, and it's kind of weird because I work with the gardening things all day. So it's kind of weird, but every single plant that I touch dies for some reason. I don't know.
Get the reverse Midas touch going on.
I even killed a cactus. How do you kill a cactus?
Oh, dude. Seriously, like a cactus is one of the... it lives in the desert off hardly anything.
Maybe I watered it too much. I don't know.
That might be you. You can't overwater a cactus. Cactuses do not like to overwater.
I'm definitely not a green thumb.
I think a little spritz once every couple of weeks, and you're probably pretty good. You don't want to soak that puppy down.
Right. Plus, I live in a small apartment, and I couldn't really grow in here anyway. But
So you don't have a strange grow thing. I'll tell you what. I've smelt this thing coming from the grow side of the building before, and on previous occasions, but nothing this bad. I mean, this is like, I don't know, what's it? If you went into an auto repair facility and they had the garage door shut in the wintertime as they were testing the engine, it's like that. It's, like carbon monoxide poisoning time, but it stinks really bad. It's this horrible fume. I would compare it in strength to like opening up the lid on a nail polish remover bottle and just with every breath. Yeah, it's really strong. It's not nail polish. It doesn't smell like nail polish remover, but it's like this electrically charged smell. It's very distinct. You definitely know it's electric, but I don't think it's It's not melting plastic. I felt everything. Everything is cool. I'm just saying it started choking me out of here probably about an hour or two before the program began. And the heating and ventilation are connected from that side of the building to this side of the building. So it's really messed up because it was funneling all that stuff in here. And when I went to the grow area, it was really bad off. I mean, I had to plug my nose and pull my shirt over my nose. I'm sure that wasn't helping, but so I turned a fan on before the studio in the studio doors before the program started, and I had it on full blast going in and then on full blast going out. Like this is directly out of doors.
Right.
And it got rid of it for a little while, but then, I went back there and shut off all the lighting before the program started because, that can't persist, in that concentration for very long before you're on the floor flopping and somebody's calling 911 on you. Or in Bart Simpson's case, 918. So, that's a joke from the beginning of the show. So there's this horrible fuming is happening, and I don't know what's causing it. I looked it up online. People say that it's like there's various and sundry proposals, but nothing connected. Nobody said this is. I know what that is. Here's what it is. Here's how you stop that, or here's the problem, or people have reported it before, but I didn't know that this could exist like this. See, to me, it smells like ionized air, like it was something. The air was charged in some way. But I couldn't.
Crisp or something like that. Maybe they're producing oxygen really hardcore.
It wouldn't be oxygen. I think it would be ozone. You can't really make oxygen easily, but you can make ozone pretty good. Oxygen has a, this is from science, high school science, has a missing electron in its outer shell. So it wants to link up with itself like pretty readily. So it's always O2 by itself. Ozone is O3, so it takes an electrical charge. Usually ozone is made, you can get it with combustion engines, with gasoline engines it'll cause it. That's why they changed the formula in the summertime like they're doing now.
Is that what those ionizers do?
Yes. And then it creates ozone. So, yeah, it's also a technology that they put into, it's an ionizer. It's kind of like an air freshener. But you put it say in a room for smoking. It's creating an ozone. It's just a little bit of ozone. But ozone is like I think it's like what do they call it, a free radical, or I don't know. It does something where it neutralizes odors and it makes things fresh again. But all I know is that that was going on in the other room, and even with the electric lights, I went back there during the last break to check it out, and it is still pungent back there. And the air conditioning has now ceased to be functioning because I think it's frozen up. I think there's a big chunk of ice blocking the vent.
That's probably what it is.
No, that's something else. That happens every once in a while when it gets too humid and you need to leave it running too long. The humidity will freeze to the condenser, and it'll instead of dripping off the condenser and discharging water, it freezes to it and forms a chunk of ice which blocks the airflow.
So that's glad we don't suffer from that here.
Oh man, that's what's going on right now. It's doing that, and I turned the air conditioning back on even though the vents are blowing, but it is like hot in here now. I mean, I don't even have a shirt. I took my shirt off during the last break because it's so hot.
Oh wow!
And now with the studio door closed and the fan's not running, I'm about to pass out, brother. I'm just warning you. So, listen, I thank you for calling in, Kelly. We've run out of time.
No problem.
We're up against the clock already. Boy, it really flies by fast. And look, I gotta champion you for sticking with us through the whole freaking program. I'll just share something with everybody. Kelly from Seattle called When the show began, like before anything started, he was on the phone. Where were you? Where was everybody else? Damn yous. All right, thanks, Kelly. Great show. I'll talk to you soon. More on The Full Melt Show coming your way tomorrow.
The Full Melt Show is a production of TFM Media.